It is my pleasure to be joined by Adriano Moraes, who fights for the vacant one flyweight title at 1172 on March 23rd. Let's start there, I suppose. Obviously, Yuya Wakamatsu in a rematch. I watched back the first fight the other day from 1X, and it reminded me a little bit of your previous fight with Danny Kingad, that win that you're coming off, in terms of some of the exchanges, and then to get that opportunistic guillotine choke that we've seen many times from you in one championship. Do you think that's a fair assessment in terms of the way the first fight with Yuya went?
Yes, for sure. This is a guillotine choke is one of my good weapons that I have in my Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills. I love it to choke people out. I have been training a lot since my beginning in my jiu-jitsu career. So it's a guillotine choke is one of them that I like to use. That's what helped me out to achieve a lot of titles in one championship with this trick. So especially Wakamatsu was one of them to get caught with it. So yes, and Danny King got caught too in my last fight. So, but I know you know that because I could submit him in our first match. So I know for this next fight he's gonna be really aware about it. So I'm trying I'm gonna try all the kinds of choke, all the kinds of submissions for sure.
Is that a guillotine something you get quite a lot in the gym? Because it seems to come so naturally to you in terms of being able to lock it up in those moments. Like I said, the first fight with Yuya, that last fight with Danny, quite competitive fights, and then that guillotine comes out of nowhere, and it really is like as soon as you've got it. I mean, like I said, people have seen it so many times from you at this point that once you get in that position, it's almost like, well, this is a wrap because he's going to finish this guillotine again.
Yes, for sure. If I lock at this position, it's like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like that. If you lock the position, it's done. It's checkmate. That's how Jiu-Jitsu is all about. And especially for me, this is one of my best tricks. If I lock that, you don't have escape. You're gonna sleep or you're gonna tap. You know, that's my goal.
When Demetrius Johnson retired and vacated this title, I think it was pretty clear that it was going to be you versus somebody else. Was Yuya someone that you thought would be, a potential opponent for you for this vacant title? I know that both him and Reese McLaren, who's one of the few guys in this division that you haven't fought, both put in quite good performances, similar timeframes to your win over Danny. So it seemed to me like it was out of those two guys for who was going to get the shot. But was you're a guy that you were looking at thinking, it's probably going to be me and him for this belt?
Yes, for the first time, I thought would be like Chris McLaren because he was the only guy in our rankings I never fought. So I thought, and that he came over with a good win. So I thought they won championship would put him on the line against me. But Yuya is a really good contender. Also, he's really strong. He come up with a good wins. So why not? You know, I'm happy. I'm in the first contender and gonna fight for the belt again.
We are back after some technical difficulties, hence the slight change in the edit there. But as I was saying, I'm sure a bunch of fighters, it is a bucket list moment to be able to fight in Saitama Super Arena. That must have been a big draw for you getting to compete on, one of the biggest cards that one have ever put together.
Yes, man, it's an amazing card. For me, it's a honor to be inside this car, especially fight for the belt. A lot of belts on the line. It's gonna be an explosive night, you know. And for sure, fighting this avenue like Saitama Super Arena are gonna complete all the most important capitals in Asia. I have been fighting. I think I'm just the only fighter in the world to complete that, so it's amazing for my career, for my legacy, and bro, it's 172. Japan is a dream coming true.
I wanted to ask about a training partner of yours at ATT, the UFC's flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja. We haven't had any news yet. It seems like we should get some soon about what's next for him. It looks like it might be Kai Kara France or Manel Cap. Give me your thoughts on what you think will be next for Alexandre and how he matches up with those two guys. Both two very dangerous strikers, which I know that he's fought quite a lot of those guys at this point.
Yes, he already fought against both, right? I think he has a win against both those guys. Uh, I think UFC already UFC already showed that he would be defending his belt against Kai France, but this fight was canceled. Then after this fight was canceled, Manel Capé did a really good performance. Right? He smashed the undefeated fighter. So maybe UFC changed the idea of the next contender, or maybe not. Maybe they're gonna sign up a different fight for a different organization. Uh, let's see, man. Uh, a lot of opportunities in the air. Let's see what's gonna happen. But one thing I can tell you, uh, Pantoja keep training. He's very strong. He has heart. I think it's gonna be hard for some of those guys taking his belt.
You guys train obviously with so many high level guys. You fought a lot of high level guys. What is it about Pantoja? Obviously, he's very well rounded, but is there one thing you think that maybe is the secret to his success? Because he's always been a very highly rated fighter, but since becoming the champion, it really feels like he's continued to constantly level up to the point where he's like you said, he's already beaten the two guys that we're talking about fighting him next. And I would say he's better now than he was then too.
Yes, for sure. Because they train with me. So I'm kidding.
Absolutely.
I'm kidding. Him and Kyoji Horiguchi, they have we both our two is iron sharps iron. We training hard, help each other to achieve our dreams. And man, I'm so happy to see them grow and see them achieve their dreams. And brother, we're gonna keep out here training hard to keep their belts for sure. You know what I'm saying? And that's it, man. He's strong. He's training hard. He's a humble guy. Uh, he's simple, and man, the most thing he's disciplined, and that's why he showed this in his fights.
Obviously, we mentioned Manel Cap, his impressive performance. How do you see a fight between him and Pantoja going? We've seen it once before, but I feel like both men have shown a lot since then in terms of their UFC careers. So I do think it's still an interesting fight, despite the fact that we have seen it once already.
Yes. For me personally, I prefer Cape to fight Pantoja, because he came after he lost to Pantoja, he evolved a lot in his career in UFC, and his run for the first contender is being amazing. He has finished. He's a finisher fighter. I think that's what everybody wanna see. And I think for UFC it's gonna be a really good idea to put him against Pantoja again, make Pantoja as Cape too. I think it's gonna be good.
Last one on Pantoja. After his last win, a great performance against Kai Asakura. He was calling for a guy that you know pretty well, Demetrius Johnson. Obviously, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like DJ is going to stay retired. What was your thoughts on seeing Pantoja call for that? And is it a fight that you'd want to see, considering that you know both men so well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, it would be a really great fight, and for sure, I know the way how to defeat Dimitri Johnson, and that would help Pantoja a lot for this fight, for sure. And Pantoja would be the winner.
I want to quickly mention a one of the other training partners that you mentioned just a minute ago, Kyoji Horiguchi. It seemed for a minute last year that we might be, there was some kind of links to the UFC in relation to the deal that the UFC did with Ryzen and having Kai Asakura come in. I feel like Not that his career needs it because he's had a spectacular career both in and outside of the UFC anyway. But would you like to see Horiguchi make that transition over? I'm sure the Japanese fans love having him in Ryzen, but it does feel like maybe there could be something there for him.
Yes, man, Horiguchi already did a lot of things for the sport. He's, I think, the only fighter who has the world championship belts in both promotion was Rise and Bellator. I think this is a gold thing, you know. And I think for him, he can do whatever he want, you know. If he want to go to UFC, he can go. If he want to go to one championship, he can go, you know. I think he's on a stage he can does everything he wants. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really happy for him for him to stay in this kind of place of his career because he deserves, man. He's very disciplined, and I can't wait for every place he goes to fight. I gonna be in his team for sure.
Absolutely. Last question. Just this past weekend, we had the UFC return to Las Vegas. A Brazilian world champion, Alex Pereira, lost his title. Just curious if you watched the fight, what your thoughts on it were. I know that a lot of people thought that maybe Alex didn't look quite at his best compared to how we've seen him lately. Yeah, what was your thoughts on it if you did catch it?
Yeah, like I said, man, sometimes you have a bad times in the office, you know, like it's not every time you're gonna give our best performance. And unfortunately, it's happened with Alex Pereira. That wasn't his night. Unfortunately, I think a lot of things that he really want to do doesn't work in that night. But he's still one of the greats, you know. And if I was in his corner, I just would talk to him to keep his combination more like active, you know, because he's so good. I don't think Ankalaev would support his pressure, you know. So, but unfortunately, he let Ankalaev to play his game, and was that and was it, you know.
Yeah, like you said, I think I agree. A bad night at the office, but of course, we are hoping 1172 March 23rd will be a great night at the office for you at Saitama Super Arena, facing Yuya Wakamatsu for the vacant flyweight title. Adriano, thank you so much for your time. I wish you all the best for Japan,
Thank you
and
very much, man.
I'm
Stay
sure I'll catch you
blessed.
sometime. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.